Welcome to Inner Niña podcast, embracing your inner child while leading with strength. This is a space for Latina women and beyond who are ready to break generational cycles and lead from a place of wholeness. Together, we will reconnect with the little girl inside, the one who dreamed big, felt deeply, and longed to be seen, and honor her as we step in fully into our power. Join me, Maria Benitez, for heartfelt reflections and empowering conversations about identity, healing, culture, and leadership. Each episode invites you to embrace your inner niña while leading with authenticity, compassion, and courage. Welcome back to Inner Niña. We will have a special host today, Leolis Rodriguez. Let's begin.
Welcome, Mami Maria. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Just to see you. How are you? How was your Christmas?
It was good. Doing awesome. Very, very cold, but trying to stay warm.
That's nice. Thank you for being with me today.
Thank you for allowing me to switch places. You also deserve to share your story and be heard. I'm going to start by telling our listeners how we met. I know you shared that story already, but I would like to share it from my point of view. So we met 3 years ago at a MANA conference in Texas. That day, we were all gathered in a conference room sharing our immigration stories. It was already an emotional topic, but since me and my group were the youngest one, for me, it was another layer to the nerves. By the time we finished sharing our stories, the room you could feel the weight in the room. There were some tears, of course. And Mami Maria stood up and she gave us a hug. From that moment on, we instantly connected. Me and my group instantly connected with her. You know how there are some people who just radiate warmth, people whose energy feels safe, comforting, and easy. I think that's a good adjective to use. People you can talk to without fear of judgment. People who are open-minded and grounded. Maria was that person for me. Ever since I saw her, you just see the light radiating from her. She reminded me so much of my aunt, which I have her right here. Maybe you could see. Always have her right here. She was the cool aunt, the aunt you would want to be. The one I looked up to because she lived freely and never followed the crowd. She always gave me advice without me even asking because she knew it was hard for me to ask for help because I'm stubborn like that. Sadly, mi tia passed away in 2019. I miss her deeply. I wish she was here. Maybe she would be proud of me because of everything I've accomplished. I wish I could still call her for advice because talking to her never felt heavy or judgmental. She studied here in the United States and she supported me a lot through high school. And I really hoped to have the same support during college. When I met Mami Maria, it felt like the same energy, the same aura. She felt like I said, like a beam of light. I didn't even know her yet since it was our first time meeting, but that's the energy I felt from her. And I remember thinking maybe Tia Laura sent her my way because she knew I needed a mentor and someone to walk alongside me and support me in ways that I didn't even know. Our relationship grew as Mami Maria invited us to her circle. She opened the doors to her home and it felt warm. It felt familiar. Her presence was welcoming and just nice. We celebrated my first birthday in California, which was honestly wild. Every time she came to the East Coast, we met and made sure to make more memories. And I recently traveled to California for her birthday, which we need to plan another visit because I really miss you, Mami Maria.
I miss you too. Best gift ever, by the way.
I call her Mami Maria because that's how I truly feel for her. I truly see her. She embraced me like an adopted daughter, and I felt honored to be surrounded by her love and guidance. She has offered me support, and I know she will always be there. At first, I didn't understand why she was being so kind to me. And one day she said something along the lines, I'm planting the seed so that one day you can pay it forward, just like I am doing with you. And that tells you exactly what kind of person she is. So, Maria, I'm truly honored to be here today, sitting across from you, even through a camera, listening to your story because you also deserve to be heard. So, tell us about you, your journey, your background, and family dynamics. Very excited.
Thank you so much. Well, I didn't wear any waterproof makeup today, so I may look like a hot mess towards the end. But this happens because our relationship is very, very genuine, you know. So you don't know the people that you are going to come across and who's going to make an impact and who you're going to gravitate to. I've been fortunate that I get a chance to meet some people that automatically have become my family, and she's one of them. Before I get into my story, I want to share a little bit of that first meeting that I think it's important to share because, yeah, I became like instant mama on that first day. I remember the group after the conference, everybody went their own separate ways, and I took my little group with me. And we were in San Antonio, and I'm like, they've never been there. There was a little incident with one of the girls. Her back got delayed, and so they were having some rough start to the conference. And so I'm like, you know, I'm gonna take care of them. And so we went. I said, let me take you out. We're gonna go to dinner. I wanted them to eat some really good Mexican food, but I was disappointed in really good Mexican food where we went. So we were at the as a boardwalk, riverwalk, I think. And then I had two groups within that group. We had one that was 21 and over, and we have some that were not 21 yet. So I was like, okay, how do I mother both of them? And they got to see my maternal protective side that day because they know me. They're like, you need to stay with me. But I want them to enjoy that event to the fullest. So we're like, okay, we're going to go ahead and enjoy it. And the ones that were 21, they wanted to dance. I wanted to dance. I'm a dancer. I love music and that's my vibe. So I'm like, okay, I can't leave the ones that are underage yet. So I dropped the ones that were 21 at a club. And then they were all in the same boardwalk. And I said, you guys going to stay here. Don't talk to strangers. Do not take anything that anybody gives you. Keep an eye on yourself, and then I'll be back. Pay attention to your phone. Those were my instructions to them. She's like, yes, Mommy Maria. And then the ones that were under 21, which is Leolis and Richie, I think it was one more. We went walking around, and we were just having fun. But I was like babysitting, and proudly babysitting. So we were having fun, and it was a crazy night because there's a lot of people. I remember Richie, which is the other daughter, was with us. She was getting a lot of attention, and I became instantly protective because one of the guys was trying to talk to her, and she's like, hey, keep away, she's a minor. And then the guys are looking at me like, what the hell's crazy with this crazy lady? I was like, we were just having fun, and I'm like, okay, I'm picking you guys at this time. And I went back to pick up the ones that were 21. And I went inside the club, but before I went inside the club, I said, I want to dance. And they're like, we're going to wait here, Mommy. You go inside, get your dance on. I went inside to pick up the girls. I got a chance to do one song. I danced. Okay, now let's go. And then we gathered together afterwards. We kept walking, and it was the most fun that I had that night. But the best thing that came out of it is the relationships were instantly built that night, right? We had so much fun and the energy was just there. And I'm like, these girls are incredible. And I left the conference with additional members and she was part of it. And it was just like, okay, we need to be in each other's life. And sometimes you meet people where you want to have those relationships, but it's not mutual. And I was so glad to see that it was mutual because we kept in touch. We text, we have a family group chat. And then from there, the girls were like, I'm going to turn 21 on this. I'm like, okay, come over. We'll celebrate your 21st birthday the way it needs to be celebrated, but responsibly. And the parents got to know me and I was communicating with them and they were able to get the treatment of a 21 first birthday. We did a lot with little sleep, right? But I took them everywhere. We went to explore Southern California and it was just so nice for me to see, the fun that she was getting, the memories we're building. And it's something that she will never forget. I will never forget. And the fact that I was able to involve my family here with the process is just even more special. So I just had to share that with you because the San Antonio trip with the division of under 21, over 21, it was fun. It was funny. But yeah, we still talk about that night. But thank you for doing a little bit of a reversal to try to tell my story. I created this podcast so I can share the incredible women that I know and their stories because they need to be told. Because a lot of the stories I come across, like she shared the first time I met them, they had me in tears. And I automatically, from that moment, it's like, I need to protect them. I need to, like, I automatically, I need to do my job as a mother. And I became their adopted mana mom. And after that became just Mami Maria. And she's like, but we need to share your story. And I'm like, okay. So here we are. As for me, I'm an immigrant. I was born in El Salvador and I came to this country like many immigrants do for a better life. But mine was a little different because my mom and my stepdad came here before I left. And during the time that they were out for 3 years, they left me with my grandmother and my sister. The war in my country broke out. And my mom, when you leave, you don't expect, that something like that was going to happen. And the town that I lived in, that I was born in, was one of the hotspot of the war. So at a very young age, I got to see a lot of things no child should see, right? I was very traumatized. And until like as an adult, I didn't know what PTSD was until I'm like, oh, that was PTSD, that I encounter, which is kind of like a lot of the episodes that we're going to be having here. We survived a bus jack from the guerrillas when we were little, and that was an experience to itself because it was my grandmother, my sister, and I coming back from the capital from having our immigration interview to try to get our passports to leave, and then we got at gunpoint taken out of the bus. And we were fortunate that we weren't killed. I just remember, those are the memories that I have, that my grandmother suffers from a heart attack. I was the youngest. My sister's a year older. My sister, it's emotionally unstable to say the least. But I was like, oh my God, she's going to start screaming. My grandma's going to have a heart attack. They're going to kill us. And all these thoughts I still remember, because I was like, I felt that responsibility of taking care of my grandmother and taking care of my sister and how am I going to do it? And they took us out of the bus with our hands up. They told us, keep your hands up, don't turn around and keep walking. As we kept walking, all of a sudden we hear they were reeling with bullets the entire bus. They kept the bus driver and they use it as a message. Like, like the team, the people from the town had a kind of not ones the guerrillas, and because it was in between government and the farmers, basically, right? So anyways, that was one of my tragic experience, and from that moment on, we knew that we had to leave our town because our town was a hot spot. And until our visa came, I went to live in the capital, but there was a lot of moments where I saw a lot of dead bodies. I had, there was so much that came out of that process growing up in my country. So when I came to this country in the 80s when everybody was leaving El Salvador, I came PTSD because I would not get on a bus. And if you know New York and you know the East Coast, everything is public transportation. So I didn't know what PTSD was because I'm like, well, like I didn't like to go in La Guagua, like that's what I call it, La Guagua, the bus transportation. I didn't want to eat. I had nightmares because I saw dead bodies when I was when I had just come to this country. I didn't like the food because if you know anything from like our type of culture, there is no processed food. What you eat for lunch, you went to the market, la marqueta, al mercado to get it. So nothing's frozen. So that was, my poor mom had to navigate through whole new things. I wouldn't get on the bus. I had nightmares. I couldn't eat. And so she automatically had me get medical, go see a doctor. And she didn't know what that was either, right? PTSD. So anyway, I went from a tropical place as well, like El Salvador, to Jersey. And I lived there for 6 years where I learned. That was very traumatic because I didn't know anything. And I got bullied because I didn't speak English. And although where I grew up was a melting pot of different cultures. So you have Puerto Rican, Dominicans, Cuban, Colombians. But the one thing that was different, even though you spoke Spanish, because all the kids spoke Spanish, they prefer English. And if you didn't speak English, they were like torture you. So that was very stressful because I got bullied and I used to get mad. I'm like, I'm going to learn how to speak English, damn it. So thank God for TV because I learned how to learn English watching a lot of TV. And my sister was a little more conservative. She was really shy. So she got left back. I came to do third grade. She was in her fourth grade, but my sister wouldn't talk. Her way of trauma was that she shut down. So, her trauma was different. I was more outgoing. The bully motivated me to kind of speed up my learning capabilities, my abilities. Well, my sister kind of went into her internal self and completely shut down. So she flunked fourth grade. I caught up with her, and then we went through the process together. And my sister used to get bullied a lot, and I used to like fight her bullies. I became like the protective, and so I learned to speak English, and I'm grateful for that because Jersey kind of pushed me, that environment pushed me to learn things quickly. In 86, we had to move to California because our apartment burned down. And so we couldn't find a place that was affordable for my parents. Our apartment burned down, and my mom had a family here in California, and we ended up moving to California. But as we kept growing and establishing here, I stayed here, and this became my permanent home. I've been married twice. I have two beautiful children, my two different relationships. One of the things that motivates me to do a lot of things, first initially, what motivated me to break some of the cycles is the minute I became a mom. The minute I became a mom, I'm like, I need to change that so they have an opportunity to have a better life, change a lot of things from how to raise my son, because I didn't want to duplicate the mistakes that I grew up seeing or witnessing. And that changed a lot of things from me. And that's another day for that story. But the minute I sensed I was going to be a mom, especially to a boy, I'm like, I need to make some changes so I can raise a man, not a macho, right? So that changed. And the minute I had my daughter, that was another motivational factor. How can I raise her to be independent and confident? Because I was dealing with a lot of stuff that I grew up with, and that kind of changed a lot for me. I knew that a lot of things I was doing is in spite of everything that I was taught. When I came to this country, my mom was immigrant. She was very modest. So education or schooling is not something that she kind of encouraged me. She was more interested in me learning how to cook so I can be a good wife, and how to do things domestically at home. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, they can cook. I was I was a little smart ass growing up. I was like, he can cook for me. Well, I'm gonna make money. Someone can cook for me. And she's like, you need to learn how to cook. And I was forced to learn. And I used to intentionally burn the food. So I was like, maybe if I burn the stuff, she stopped asking me to cook. And my poor stepdad, he will eat it. He will eat the burnt rice. And, I'm like, I just want to watch cartoons. I don't want to learn how to cook. I know how to cook, but my mom's intention, instead of saying, go read a book so you can, to fend for yourself, she was like training me to basically be a housewife. There's nothing wrong with that, to each his own. It was not mine. What I tell my kids, I need you to learn how to cook, clean, sew, do your stuff, be independent. Because in the event that you're not fortunate to have a partner that's going to be a true partner, you know how to take care of yourself, because I may not be around. And so I've been able to do that, the opposite of my teachings from my mom. Right. So that would set up a little story of where my journey took me and how my kids are now adults, so they can speak on the things that I taught them. But one thing about me, that growing up, I was like, if I ever have an opportunity to pay it forward, if I get an opportunity to share the do's and don'ts, then I'm going to apply it. And I got a chance. How we met through this nonprofit organization, as I was introduced to this nonprofit organization called Mana. And the minute I got introduced, I said, this is what I need to be doing. This is my purpose. I didn't have someone encouraging me. I didn't have a mentor. My own mom didn't believe in me. She would tell me, things like, this became part of a story for me, because I became a madrina, and some of them didn't know the story. I was going to college. This goes with why I volunteer. When I was in high school, my senior year, I had a group of friends. We did a lot of stuff together, and they were a smart group. One was going to Berkeley, one was going to Cal State Long Beach, and they're all going to college. And I missed the boat because my guidance counselor wasn't really helpful, and I obviously didn't do my job to get that information. And I'm like, as they telling me what they were doing to graduate, they were going to different schools. I'm like, I have nowhere to go. And I ran to my counselor and I said, I need you to help me get into college. And mind you, it was like senior year. We were like planning graduation, everything. And all I realized is I didn't want to be the dummy in the group. And I just realized, I couldn't be the one left behind. So it became like a little competition for me, and it kind of encouraged me because I'm like, I know I'm not an idiot, so I don't want to be the one where they're having conversation. I can relate. So my counselor said, okay, well, let me figure out what we can do. And she enrolled me into a community college. So I started there, but I still didn't know what I wanted to do. Anyway, fast forward a little bit. I was able to go to junior college, East LA College, which is a really, really great school, but I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no one helping me, no one at home, no one that can say, hey, let me show you. I didn't know that you needed 60 units for general ed before you can transfer. I didn't know that, right? And so I was navigating while working. I was working full time and going to school. I was going to school from 7 p.m. to 10 at night. And trying to manage all that and being responsible. But I remember one semester I was low on cash and I needed $40 for a used book. And I was completely, I was broke. So I went to my mom and I asked her, I said, can you let me $40 for a used book? Because I need it. She looked at me. She's like, no, because you're not going to graduate. So I'm not going to give you the money. And that really should have broke me, but it actually pissed me off. I think it's part of my personality, my survival instinct. It's like, I'm gonna show her. I was mad. I was hurt, but I was mad. I'll show her. I don't know what I did, but I don't know how I managed, but I ended up graduating. It took me 6 years. Again, it should have taken me only 2. But I was working full time, not knowing and trying to figure out. So my 2-year journey for junior college took me 6 years with no help. And by the time I was graduating, during that time I had gotten married, had a baby. And I remember my graduation season happened. And I was going through this really bad divorce. And I was left with all the responsibility. I was a single mom. My son was a baby and I didn't want to walk. And I remember my earth science teacher, this man, kind of had a conversation with me and he was telling me, oh, so you're graduating. He's like, well, yeah, but I'm not walking. I have no one who's going to come to my graduation. And I shared a little bit of the story with him. And he's like, you need to walk. Don't do it for anybody else, but you need to do it for yourself. You got yourself here and you need to do it. The very day of the graduation, I went and got a cap and gown and it was like impromptu, just so I can walk the ceremony and I can have a little picture. And I remember calling one of my guy friends from school. He was one of my best friends at that time. I said, hey, his name was, I used to nickname Bubbles. Hey, Bubbles, I need your help. Can you go pick up my son? I was at school that day. I was wrapping up my last class and the ceremony was that day. And I said, I need you to go bring my son. I need him to see me graduate. And he was a baby. So I called my mom. This is before cell phones. So I had to use a paid phone. This tells you how long ago this was. And my mom answered and I told her, I'm graduating the ceremony. I'm going to have Bubbles go pick up, the baby and bring him here because I want him to see me graduate. I'm doing this for him. So that's the only time my mom, knowing that she wasn't going to leave my son alone, she tagged along. So she came, my friend brought my son and he came in a rush where I still remember, forgot to put his shoes on. So he was the baby with just socks. And I just wanted one picture when I can look back and tell my son, hey, I did this. Regardless of what I was going through, I did this and I did this for you. And that kind of set the tone for me, right? So I have to thank that earth science teacher for pushing me and encouraging me to do that because I probably would have regretted. Because a lot of things that I did back then was like, I want to lead by example. So in the future, when my kids, well, I can't do it because it's hard. I'm like, I did it and I was broke and I was going through divorce. I was a single mom and I still found the strength to do this. And I did it because of you. You motivated me. My son motivated me. And that was my first child. And then from there, it continued. Well, the $40 story became a Mana de San Diego tradition because I was able to share a few years ago that story. And I created a tradition with the chapter. It's called the Madrina tradition, which is the $40. They named it the $40 story. Mm-hmm. It allows me to give the girls that graduate that year, the hermanitas that graduate the year, a little gift. It's not a lot. It might be a symbol of $40, $50 with a lot of little gifts put together with a personal message to me that no matter where they go, they're not alone and that we believe in them and I believe on them. And that message has my personal number too. So if they ever get stuck and they feel like there's no one they can reach or get advice, they know how to reach me because I had no one to say, hey, I believe in you. And it's not about the money. It's just the fact that the words of encouragement. So I was able to do that for 5 years in a row, plus launching a scholarship. And to me is going back to this Inner Niña podcast is that in this big shell that you see here, this beautiful shell of adult woman, inside is the little me right now trying to fulfill some of that longing that I wish someone had done for me. When maybe my mom had given me the $40, probably would have changed the trajectory of who I am right now. But the fact that she didn't has created new traditions because whether she believed in me or not, I went on and went and got 3 degrees. I got my associates, my bachelor's, my master's. I even got a certification all on my own, all with no one else financially supporting me or anybody telling me, hey, you can do it. And so I'm self-made, regardless of the obstacles or the don'ts that I was told. I was told, no, you're not going to do them. And I was able to prove them wrong. So out of that journey for me, is what I created my support system where I want to make sure that whoever I come across, I do my part to encourage them to be an ear, a soundboard for them, and anything that I could do. And the way I envision is like when you plant and you said it at the beginning, and that's a message that I put in everything that I do. I don't ask for anything. I'm not looking for any type of accolades. I just, how beautiful it would be if I'm like una viejita sentada, like in my retirement. And I can look at, in the future and see the little girls that were and say, hey, you know what? I'm able to do this because I met Leolis and Leolis was able to help me and mentor me. And it's like, it's creating that little sprinkle that it might help one and one can help 3 and 3 can help more. And so it's just creating that positive ripple effect. That's my only viejita wish for me. Believe it or not, that's what I said. Wherever I'm sitting, that a little grain can eventually blossom into something more beautiful, So it doesn't take much. And that's what's been part of that journey for me. And there's a lot that's happened in between, right? I have my daughter. I'm raising her also to be independent and fearless, to try to empower her, and that's a different journey. But I did it with the intent of, I talked to both of them. I said, look, you guys are not going to get a trust fund when I'm gone, because I'm not rich. The only thing that I'm trying to give you is the examples of being able to take care of yourself, be good to people, and find a way to pay it forward, be of service. They both are in that service mode, my mentality, and I said, that's going to be your legacy. That's going to be like, and I said, also, because I started a scholarship program, I want you guys to continue. I said, because I want to be able to do what nobody got a chance to do for me. And so if I have the opportunity, I said, I want to be able to do that. And that's something that you guys need to continue doing it. So we'll see. That's still in the works because, but I figure that when you lead with the example and with the heart, people are paying attention. And because I'm also growing my family, the necessary needs to be my blood kids. I have you now, I have Richie. And so someone needs to continue that legacy, right? that legacy to give up. But that's been my journey. Another piece that my life hasn't been easy. It's been one of ups and downs, but I always find a positive even the hardest lesson, or what I can learn and what I can share. And I always, like I tell you when we have conversations, like if I can share with you something that I did wrong, where I can say, hey, maybe don't do it this way so you don't have the same effect as me sharing those experiences. I don't always paint a pretty picture. I'm not always going to tell you, oh, things are always great. Things are not always great. But I keep it 100% real with you all, the good and everything that happens in between, because I want you guys to know that no matter where we are in life, whether we have some bad moments or tough lessons, that it's who you have around you that's going to support you and uplift you no matter what, right? And so I am able to do that with you, but you also, without noticing, you guys also do that for me. I'm embarking in this new journey right now with this podcast because people have been telling me, you guys need to do it, you need to do it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to do it because I need to share a lot of the incredible stories. You're one of those incredible stories. And I believe in leading by example. So when we have those examples, we're leading others to follow in our footsteps or improve our footsteps. so it can continue moving forward. So this is still part of my journey. I'm still learning. As I'm teaching and mentoring, I'm also learning. There's a lot of hard lessons. So that's where I'm at right now.
Wow, Mami Maria. Listening to your story makes my heart feel a little heavy. I'm sure there were a lot of moments where the future probably felt unclear and overwhelming. And on those days, what gave you the strength to keep going forward? How did you cope during those hard times? How did you learn how to comfort yourself? I know you talked about your kids helping you go through a lot. Tell me a little bit more.
Well, that's a great question. Well, I have faith. I was born in a very Catholic home, but as an adult, through some of my challenges, life lessons that I believe God puts me through, because everything that I do is through Him, I became a Christian. And because I wanted a relationship, I wanted to understand that. And so I've been through some really crazy stuff, and I believe that there's a reason why I'm going through that stuff because of my faith. I have those conversations with God, and I don't want to get like too religious in here, but it's how I cope. I remember one special event where it was one of the roughest time in my life because I lost so much that year. I lost my stepdad. I almost lost my marriage. I almost lost my kids. And I remember my boss at that time telling me, I don't know how you're doing it. He's like, if I was you, I would have killed myself. And I'm like, well, he's not encouraging. He's not, he's not being positive. I'm like,
Oh my God.
I'm just telling me that. I'm like, definitely not a motivational speaker, that's for sure. And I was going through a lot at that moment, but I remember telling him, I said, you know what? I do believe that whatever some bad moments or challenging moment that God allows me to go through, I said, He rewards me with 10 blessings and more. I said, I just have to wait out this storm. And I said, and I know things better are coming. And he's looking at me like I'm crazy. But I do believe it, and that's how I tend to see things in life, that this moment will pass. There's a lesson that I need to learn. And sometimes the lesson is not just for me, but because there's times I have people that told me, seeing you go through what you're going through, he's like, it gave me courage to go through what I went through. And I'm like, people are like, I've mentioned to you on a separate occasion, like people are watching us, how we manage certain things. And I do believe that. And that's what keeps me going, the faith that nothing that I can do is I can control, right? Because it's in God's plan. So God has a plan for me, and He hasn't let me down yet. I don't think He ever will. He has the best interest at heart for me. And so I trust that, and I trust Him.
I admire your strength. Wow. Just wow. I'm sure your inner niña would be so proud of you. And when you look back now, what do you think she would say? What do you think your inner niña would say?
She was like, wow, you did it. She'll be like, wow, you did it. That little niña who's longing to be loved, learning to be taken care of, she'll be surprised to see where I'm at. Because you have to understand, like, with the little girl that grew up, I grew up with no running bathroom. We had like a little outhouse. We didn't have warm water. I was resourceful. I was smart when I was little. I'm like, I'm not taking a shower early in the morning. That water's cold. I waited till the afternoon with the water in la pila. And if you don't know what the pila is, countries have it. They filled a big old thing of water, because you can lose water, electricity during the day any given day. So they will fill the water in the morning. By the afternoon, the sun had hit the water. It was warm. So I would take a shower in the afternoon after I got out of school because I was smart like that. And to see the fact that I grew up really humble, it was very the upbringing was like very simple. To where I'm at, she will be surprised, and to be surprised the people that are around me, my kids, my husband. So she will probably say, we did it. I can go back and say, we did it. We are okay. We are okay.
That's awesome. What do you hope she will feel if seeing the woman you have become? I'm sure she'll feel proud.
Proud and healed. I want to say that going back to why I'm doing all this is, my kids they're going to therapy. There's a generation of therapy. And I tell my kids, my husband and I grew up in the generation of suck it up buttercup, right? Like our parents like, oh, ahorita te está llorando, I'm going to give you something to cry about. There was like no like empathy growing up with our parents. I mean, we grew up with, chancla belts, all kind of, and that's how we grew up. We didn't talk about our feelings. My mom didn't express affection. I was having my mom, where I was telling her the other day, I said, the only time you show affection to me is when I will get sick and you used to rub my feet with vapor rub. I go, that's the only time you would show me affection. So I kind of enjoyed getting sick. That's the time that you would, show me affection. But it's not her fault. She was raised that way. I had to teach her how to say I love you. Like sometimes when I heard I talk, now she shows emotion because she only does it with me. She doesn't do it with my sister because I taught her that. And with my kids, I've taught them the same because every day, whether it's a text or talk or a phone call, we ended up, okay, I love you too. There's not a day, and that I also do that with you because I don't want anybody to have no doubt of how I feel for them, right? So that's still part of the growth that I've done because the little girl grew up with not hearing that, not knowing what that is. And so when I go back, part of that healing is like, we are okay and we are loved and we are safe and we are surrounded by people that are showing us the love and are showing us that we are okay and safe with them. So that's something I can go back to my little self to share with her that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For our ending questions, as you look ahead, what feels next for you? Not just professionally, but like personally and spiritually.
One thing that I've been asking, it's kind of like my daily ask, when I have my conversation with God, is like, please, help me align with my purpose. And my purpose for me, I feel like is what I'm doing right now, the volunteer work, sharing my story, encouraging others, if it could be mentoring them. We all sometimes have a lot of, self-talk, self-doubt, but be that voice of encouragement for those that may not have that encouragement at home, like I didn't have it, but maybe have that for them, be a safe place for them. And my wish every year is like, God, give me a little bit more so I can share more. Like I have a scholarship that I launched, but I want him to give me more so I can keep giving more. And that's what my legacy. That's what my legacy that I was able to make a difference. And it's not about the money. It's about the people that I was maybe give them a good word of advice or that was there to support. Right. And so, an example and I just found out last year when I went to El Salvador, my grandmother, my mom's mom, was a teacher, and she was like my first teacher. She was my first grade teacher, but she actually was. I learned to read and write before I went to school because she taught me how to do that, and I didn't realize how much of an impact she made. Right when I went back to my little school that I only did second grade to, her name plaque is right outside her classroom. She made that much of an impact.
Wow.
And we left the country in 1980. She stopped teaching in 1979 because of the war. But she made such a big impact that her name plaque is still outside at the door. And this goes back to the legacy that I'm talking about, right? My grandmother was very modest. She wasn't rich. We didn't have wealth, right? I mean, we live low means, but she gave a lot to the little girls that she taught, that she mentored. And I remember knocking at the school because I wanted to go and do the tour at the school and say, hi, I came to the school when I was little. Can I give a tour? And the principal was looking at me, like strange, she's like, can I just take a couple pictures? Also, my grandma was my teacher. And there was another lady, that's another teacher that was there. And they're like, who's your grandmother? And I said, Carmen de Calderon. And the lady that was there, Doña Carmencita, that's the plaque that's on the class. Oh, that's her granddaughter. And I was looking at her like, what are the odds? And I got emotional. They walked me to her class. And I used to be in my class at one point, and her name plaque was still there. So my grandma made an impact to the young girls that she touched by how she mentored them and taught them and gave them hope, whatever she did during that time. That's the legacy she left behind, right? And I want to do the legacy that way. And if that's my wish, it's nothing else but how can I be of service to do for others? And obviously the girls, right? Girls of all ages. How do I protect them? How can I mentor? And how can I I can support them so they have an opportunity to continue that and help others? so we can continue growing that support system, that network. So that's my future wish.
I am sure you will fulfill that because you are in a very good path towards it, as you have made an tremendously huge impact on me. I'm sure you have made the same impact on other people.
Thank you. I love you so much. You know that.
Te amo. And for our final question, if you could share one piece of wisdom with others, especially first generation or women who are navigating uncertainty, what would you want them to carry?
Believe in yourself. One of the things that you're going to come across, you're going to come across a lot of noise. Whether it's your own family doubting, not believing, or people around you that say you can't do it, you're not going to do it, you're this, you're that. Remove all that noise. Because if I had $1 for every time someone told me you're not, you can't, you won't, man, I will be sitting really pretty and rich right now, right? But as I've given you the tour and I'm looking right in front of me, I've created my own little reminder of space when I'm having those second doubts. I realize that I can, I did, and I will. So if I can give that message to the girls, is like things that we go through are just temporary. So one thing that I want them to remember is like the noise around them, tune them down. If in your heart you say, I can do this, I want to do this, go for it. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Nobody, unless it's something bad, right? And yeah, let them talk to you out of it. But it's something like, I want to do it. I'm like, believe and trust your instinct. Nobody knows more about what you want to do than you. And there's also going to be people that are going to just try to discourage you because they don't want you getting ahead of them. And that's selfish. So remove the noise and just listen to your heart and follow your heart.
Wow, Mami Maria. All I have to say is that you're a badass. I admire you, Mami Maria. I want to be like you when you grow up.
You're kidding me? Like you're like 2.0 on another level because I want to be you. I want to be you. You're 22 and I'm like, you're my little G.I. Jane and you're doing all the things. So one of the things I get to enjoy is I'm living vicariously through all of you. When you guys are sharing those stories and I'm like, I get so excited because I just picture like I'm doing the stuff right there with you. And that is an honor for me because I'm like, when we get together, you're telling me, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I wish I had a chance to do that, but I am doing them because I'm doing them through you. So just imagine. So, as you continue going, by the time you get to my wonderful age of, 20 plus, you're going to have so much more to share, right? And to share, to inspire, and you're already doing it. So continue on that path. And I'm just so proud of you. And I'm honored to have you in my life and be able to have access to all the things that you're doing. Because that really warms my heart. So thank you for being part of my life. I love you so much. And we're going to continue making memories together.
Of course we are. Thank you, Mami Maria, for everything. I am so honored to have you in my life. And I don't know how else to say thank you. I don't know how to describe everything I feel. I don't know how to put it into words.
I feel it. And it's likewise. So I love you so much and you know that. And I can't wait to see you in person so we can continue our fun events. One of the things is I enjoy our company because it just brings me so much joy. We have so much fun. We have so much laughter. And I'm just such a little girl when I'm around you guys because I'm like, it's so giddy. It's so giddy. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your life. It's an honor.
Thank you so much, Mami Maria, for joining us today and sharing your story. To our listeners, thank you for listening and for holding space for me. I am Leolis Rodriguez, and this is our journey together. Until next time.
Love you.
Te amo.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for holding space for me. And thank you for allowing me to walk beside you as you heal your inner niña. Until next time, please don't forget to follow and subscribe. Thank you for listening. Thank you for holding space for me. And thank you for allowing me to walk beside you as you heal your inner niña. Until next time, please don't forget to follow and subscribe.